This feels like a problem. Okay, but there are worse problems to have. I could be buying drugs. I've always been a big reader, but I don't know what's happened, what's in the air at the moment, but lately I've just loved physical books. I've been reading on my Kindle for the last few years, and I love the act of going into a bookstore, buying myself a book, so I'm gonna do a huge cumulative book haul. A lot of these books were given to me as birthday gifts. I had a birthday last week, but obviously also I have been buying myself a few too many books. So let's get straight into it. We're gonna start with books that I've bought for myself. The first book is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This book I'm actually currently reading, which is why I'm hitting it first. This is the second book in the Shepherd King duology. This series is so much fun. I absolutely love it so far. It's a gothic fantasy and it centers around this girl, Elspeth. She lives in a world where there is this sickness, and when you get this sickness, you are basically sentenced to death. She actually has the sickness, and so she goes on this quest to try and cure this town of this sickness. There's a really cool magic system. It uses Providence cards, which is kind of like playing cards, I guess. I won't go deep into it because it's actually really easy to understand, but I gave the first book a 4-star and I am loving the second book so far. The next book is The Ruin by Dervla McTiernan. I've actually read this book. I bought this for Ethan. This is one of my only 5-star crime thriller books. This book is so good. From my memory, the premise of this book is that Cormac Riley, who is the detective on the case back in 1993, so the first timeline, he has to get involved with this crime. A woman is found dead, and then it takes you into the present time where he's on another case and the two crimes are actually connected, and it's so much fun to like try and figure it out and put your little detective hat on. It's honestly so good. I really recommend this book. The next book is Twisted Love by Anna Huang. This is probably not a book I would have picked for myself, but this is actually for a YouTube video. And I'm so excited because I have just seen and heard that this book is crazy. From what I've read, this book is about a girl who has a broken past but still manages to see the beauty in every day. And then she gets involved with her brother's best friend, who I believe is like bad news, and I've just heard this book is incredibly smutty and incredibly wild, so you'll see a video on this soon. I am nervous. The next book is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. If you guys have spent time on TikTok, BookTube, any of those, you will probably have heard of this book. This book centers around an apartment block, I believe, called the Bartholomew, and it has almost like a haunted past, and somebody goes missing, and apparently they are not the only person to have gone missing. I love thrillers and crimes to just like, they almost feel like a palate cleanse because I tear through them. I have to know what happens, and I love a twist. The next book is Consider Me by Becca Mack. I have never actually heard of this book before, but again, this is going in the same video as Twisted Love and the next book I'm gonna show you. This is a romance. I believe it's an NHL romance, which I just can't fuck with a sports romance. I really can't. Olivia Parker isn't new to professional hockey players thanks to her best friend's boyfriend, but she has no interest in dating one herself, no matter how hot he is. It's honestly giving Icebreaker energy, and I have so much beef with Icebreaker. But anyway, I am excited to read this. I believe this is a 500-page romance. No romance needs to be 500 pages. The next book is also for that video. This is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I have so much beef with Hannah Grace, as I just said. Icebreaker, like, what was that book? This book is about two people who have a one-night stand, I believe, and then they get thrown together during summer camp where they are both camp counselors. The next book is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I am so excited for this book, actually. It says, the Earth is dying. Darrow is a red, a miner in the interior of Mars. His mission is to extract enough precious elements to one day tame the surface of the planet and allow humans to live on it. The Reds are humanity's last hope. Or so it appears, until the day Darrow discovers it's all a lie. I'm really excited to read this. I've honestly heard great things. Also, I have a book club like broadcast channel on my Instagram, and this is our book pick for April. So if you guys want to join, go down to the description and you can find my Instagram down there, but I'm very excited to read this and chat about it. The next book is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I need to take the sticker off. I feel like people are gonna get triggered by that. I actually haven't heard anybody talk about this book, but it was just like on special at a bookstore here in Melbourne, and it sounds so interesting. So it's a literary fiction book and it's about Shakespeare's son, which I don't really know much about Shakespeare aside from like the plays that I had to study obviously at school, but apparently he had a son called Hamnet, and that is where Hamlet the play came from. I'll read you guys the blurb. It says, on a summer's day in 1596, a young girl in Stratford-upon-Avon takes to her bed with a sudden fever. Her twin brother Hamnet searches everywhere for help. Why is nobody at home? Their mother, Agnes, is over a mile away in the garden where she grows medicinal herbs. Their father is working in London. Neither parent knows that Hamnet will not survive the week. The next book is Bunny by Mona Awad. I don't know how to say her last name, but this book went so viral on TikTok. Apparently it's really, really weird. So I'm kind of nervous, but it's about a bunch of girls who call each other Bunny. And I believe there's like cult vibes, witchy energy. I don't know too much about this book, but I've actually been avoiding reading the bio because I think I'd like to go into this blind. I'm very excited to figure out what this book is about. Next up, we have The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. This book, I have so many friends and family members who love this. Apparently, it's just absolutely incredible. I have no idea what it's about. It says, in 1901, the word bondmaid was discovered missing from the Oxford English Dictionary. This is the story of the girl who stole it. There's obviously a bigger blurb, but that's kind of the vibes. This, I believe, has won a bunch of, it's won a bunch of awards. It was Reese's book club pick, so I'm excited for this one. I would also like to go into this a little bit blind, but I've heard it's incredible. Next up, we have My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I am not even going to try and pronounce that author's name because I will fuck it up, but this book sounds so cool. It's set in New York in the 2000s, or in 2000, and this girl is young, she's thin, she's rich, and she has like a vacuum, an empty hole in her life. She, I believe, has lost her parents. Yeah, she's lost her parents. Her boyfriend treats her terribly. And I believe this is the story. I've heard this is very funny, which is amazing, like very witty, very smart. So I'm very excited. This is also really short. So like under 300 pages, so keen for this. The next book is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I've actually never heard of this, but it looks like it's a series. This is book one of the Scholomance series. This is set in a school of magic, and I just grew up loving Harry Potter. I loved Fourth Wing, so this sounds right up my alley. There are monsters. This girl has a really dark power, strong enough to level mountains and wipe out untold millions. And it says, she might accidentally kill all of the other students too, so Elle is trying her hardest not to use her power. That is, unless she has no other choice. The next book I bought for myself is called Wool by Hugh Howey. It's part of a trilogy and it's a sci-fi book. In a ruined and hostile landscape, in a future where few have been unlucky enough to survive, a community exists in a giant underground silo. Inside, men and women live an enclosed life full of rules and regulations, but some people choose not to conform. These are the people who dare to hope and dream. These are the dangerous ones. Jules is one of these people. She may well be the last. Sounds so good. This is a fatty, I'm not gonna lie. The final book I bought for myself before we get onto the presents is another Dervla McTiernan book. This one is The Murder Rule. I just eat up pretty much anything that she writes. This sounds so interesting. It says, they think I'm a young idealistic law student, that I'm passionate about reforming a corrupt and brutal system. They think I'm working hard to impress them. They think I'm here to save an innocent man on death row. They're wrong. I'm gonna bury him. Ah, slay. Honestly, I eat this shit up. I'm so excited. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the books that I got for my birthday, which I am so grateful for, and just like, this is all that I need in my life. If you ever wanna buy me a gift, this is the answer. We'll start with the books from my lovely mother. So the first one is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love her. I've read, I I think 2 or 3 of her books, and I haven't read this one. I've heard amazing things. This is the one about tennis. That's all that I know, but I am very excited to learn more about this. I don't want to read the back. I want to go into this blind, but I've heard phenomenal things. I actually think I bought this one for myself. This is also by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is Daisy Jones and the Six, which they made a TV show about, I think. So I'm keen to read this. I believe this is about a band. I think this is based on Fleetwood Mac. I could be wrong, but again, don't really want to know too much about it. It's set in the 70s. It's about a band. That's all I really need to know. Sign me up. Sounds great. The next one my mom got me is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I believe this is also a YA fantasy. It might not be YA, I'm not sure, but I've just heard so much about this book and this series, and I'm really excited to see if it's actually worth the hype. It says the message was clear. Don't let her die. We are coming. Kiva's breath caught as those final 3 words repeated in her mind. We are coming. We are coming. We are coming. No longer a vague promise of one day, but imminent. Her family was coming. Finally, after waiting so long, they were coming. For Kiva, but also for Tilda. They were coming for the Rebel Queen. That honestly gave me absolutely nothing, but I'm excited to go into this blind. I have truly no idea what this is about. Mom got me another Dervla McTiernan book, and what's crazy is I didn't ask for this book. Like, I sent her a list of books that I was interested in, but this wasn't on it, and she just knew somehow that I loved good old Dervla. This one is called What Happened to Nina. I have to talk about this cover. I'm so sorry, Dervla babe, but I don't like this cover. I don't like how big this book is, like how it's... Anyway, it says Nina and Simon are the perfect couple, young, fun, and deeply in love until they leave for a weekend at his family's cabin in Vermont, and only Simon comes home. Wow, I am very excited to see what this is about. I just think Dervla can do no wrong, to be quite honest. The next book, I have started reading this and instantly stopped because sorry, I got so bored, but this is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. This is I think it's considered 3.5 in the ACOTAR series. This is the novella, which I don't understand the purpose of this, but alas, here it is. Thank you, Mom. And she also got me A Court of Silver Flames. This will be me rounding off the series. I think she's coming out with more books, which, like, how do we have more to say? How do we have more to say? Anyway, people told me that I have to read this book because it's told from Ness's perspective, and apparently we get some really beautiful character development. The final book my mum got me is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I have heard so much about this book. Like, people are obsessed or hate this book. I feel like there's no in between. It's giving normal people, which is one of those other books that's just so incredibly divisive. This is basically about a group of people who live in London, I believe, and Magnolia and BJ are this kind of couple, not couple. It's like, will they, won't they? They have, and then they don't, and then he goes off and does things, and she goes off and does things, and it's like this very frustrating miscommunication trope from what I've heard, but I'm excited to see what the hype is all about. And the whole tagline of the book is, how many loves do you get in a lifetime? The next 4 books are from my beautiful friend Ruby. She was so sweet and thoughtful to get me these. I am like shook and was not expecting this at all, but she got me 4 Jane Austen novels, and they are the most beautiful editions ever. Like, these are so stunning. The edges are all spray painted to match the cover, like 10 out of 10. So she got me Persuasion, which I have not read, but I'm very excited. I've been saying that I want to read a lot more classics. The next one is Emma. This one is so stunning. Like, they're all stunning, but I don't know. They're just, wow. This book was Clueless, the movie was based around this book, and I love Clueless. So I'm excited. I do actually really, really want to read this, and it's just so beautiful. She also got me Pride and Prejudice, a classic. I have read this for school, and I would quite like to read it not for school. And again, with the sprayed edges. Oh, these are gonna look so sexy on my future bookshelf. And finally, she got me Sense and Sensibility. I haven't read this one either, but so pretty. Thank you so much, Ruby. You're such a queen. Like, these are just gorge. And finally, I'm sure you guys can see the box, but Ethan got me the Throne of Glass series. It's very ambitious to, like, say that you want an entire series for your birthday when you haven't even read the first book. Like, what if I absolutely hate this series? But I really, really did enjoy ACOTAR up until it kind of flopped. But then I I liked certain parts of the third book. Anyways, so I'm very, very excited for this. So this series has Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, The Assassin's Blade, which I've heard that I have to read third, which is why I put it here. Don't come at me for the order. I'm so sick of people talking about what order you're meant to read it in. I don't know. I just went off what I think Sarah J Maas said to do. Then we have Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash. I've literally been waiting to film this book haul so that I can start reading this series. Like, I'm so excited. I actually personally have no idea what this series is about. So it seems to be about an assassin, and she does not like the king, but she has not come to kill him. She's come to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 murderers, thieves, and warriors in a competition, it's giving Hunger Games, she will be released from prison to serve as the king's champion. Her name is Selena Saradothian. And then I believe there's 2 love interests in this book, but I've heard that this is more like fantasy than ACOTAR, which is more like romantasy. This apparently has romance, but it's not as heavy romance focused, which honestly I'm excited about because ACOTAR just got too smutty for me towards the end. I'm very excited to get into the series. If you guys have read it, please let me know your thoughts because I really hope that I do like this, but I think I'm literally gonna go and get started on this book. That was everything. I know this is a lot of books, but I think reading is so good for you, and so when you love something that's good for you, I think you should really embrace it. Where am I gonna fit all of these books is another question, but I'm manifesting a home library one day. That would be heaven. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed, definitely let me know by leaving me a comment, giving this video a like. I'm slowly like entering my booktube era, I feel. Comment below as well what your favorite book that you've read recently is. Right now, I think mine's probably Two Twisted Crowns. Like, this is so good. But yeah, can't wait to hear from you. I love you so much, and I will see you guys next week with a new video. Bye!